Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to our new abode.
I know. It's a beautiful homestead here. We just bought this beautiful place in the countryside of France. No, we didn't.
We didn't really. This is, if you don't know, this is ISKCON New Mayapur. Hold on. This is ISKCON New Mayapur. So this has been owned by ISKCON for what? Good 40 years? Good. I mean,
it was Prabhupada installed the deities.
Prabhupada installed Krishna
74, 75, so almost 50 years, I guess.
50 years nearly, Chris. So if you haven't been, we would recommend you come.
Definitely.
I mean, the deities are beautiful. It's so quiet and fresh and just peaceful and lovely. Lovely. They got cows, they got a dog, they got cats, they got vegetables they grow and flowers, and the devotees are here. Very nice. So that's what this building is, ISKCON New Mayapur. And a lot of land around us.
Yeah. Okay, so we're here and we're reading Bhagavatam.
Oh.
Confirmed. Wow,
Yeah.
That's a funny bird.
Sick of bird that's laughing at us. Canto 3, chapter 29, text 18.
18? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Alright, text 18. A devotee should always try to hear about spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple, and although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of persons who are not spiritually advanced. Purport. In order to advance in spiritual understanding, one has to hear from authentic sources about spiritual knowledge. One can understand the reality of spiritual life by following strict regulative principles and by controlling the senses. To have control, it is necessary that one be non-violent and truthful, refrain from stealing, abstain from sex life, and possess only that which is absolutely necessary for keeping the body and soul together. One should not eat more than necessary. He should not collect more paraphernalia than necessary. He should not talk unnecessarily with common men, and he should not follow the rules and regulations without purpose. He should follow the rules and regulations so that he may actually make advancement. Nice verses. I like these verses. So, nice point that you have to control the senses. What are you looking at?
Just saying.
Someone
doing something.
Don't eat more than necessary. That's the difficult one for a lot of us. And also to not talk unnecessarily. Well, it says not talk unnecessarily with common men. I don't really talk to common people anyway, but let alone men.
She doesn't mix with the commoners.
Oh, it's a nice point actually, the final. He should not follow the rules and regulations without purpose. He should follow the rules and regulations so that he may actually make advancement. That's a really nice point. A very nice point. I think we were discussing I can't remember now because of my brain fog, but recently that it's like, don't just follow it and be like, yeah, I follow all the rules, and I do this and I do that. Yet sometimes you can meet people for whatever reason, maybe not up to that standard, or they can't because situations and relationships that you're in, but their hearts are so soft with bhakti, or but sometimes people who are following, your heart can get hardened because you're more into following the rules and regulations than what the essence of following the rules and regulations is for. If that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying you shouldn't follow rules and regulations, because I do. I'm not trying to say I don't, but I'm saying we have to keep in sight why we're doing it. Why otherwise you can get carried away just, I follow the rules. But why are you doing? Why are you following the rules? Well, there's something funny flying through the air towards me. What is that?
Just follow the rules.
This what happens when you're in the countryside. You have to be careful, It's like bugs and stuff.
Next paragraph. There are 18 qualifications mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, among which is simplicity. One should be without pride. One should not demand unnecessary respect from others. And one should be non-violent. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa. One should be very tolerant and simple. One should accept the spiritual master, and one should control the senses. These are mentioned here and in Bhagavad Gita as well. One should hear from authentic sources how to advance in spiritual life. Such instructions should be taken from the Acharya and should be assimilated. So it's mentioning these 18 qualifications in Bhagavad Gita, which the verse reminded me of that verse from the Gita, and I'm thinking it's chapter 13, texts 8 through 12. I think that's the list it might be referring to. And this is whenever I read these lists, just like this one, of all these good qualities, I realize how much I fall short and how much work there still is to do, Danger is we can start to think, we've made it. But when you read a list like this, I think very few people are going to be able to say they tick all the boxes on the list, So one should hear from authentic sources how to advance in spiritual life. Such instructions should be taken from the Acharya and should be assimilated. So we have to not only hear, but we also have to assimilate, which means we need to put it practically into our life. So, like that.
Okay, next paragraph. It is especially mentioned here, Nam Sankirtanat Cha. One should chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Either individually or with others. Lord Chaitanya has given special stress to chanting of these holy names of the Lord as the basic principle of spiritual advancement. Another word used here is ajavena, meaning without diplomacy. A devotee should not make plans out of self-interest. Of course, preachers sometimes have to make some plan to execute the mission of the Lord under proper guidance, but regarding personal self-interest, a devotee should always be without diplomacy, and he should avoid the company of persons who are not advancing in spiritual life. Another word is Arya. Aryans are persons who are advancing in knowledge of Krishna consciousness as well as in material propensity. The difference between the Aryan and non-Aryan, the Sura and Asura, is in their standards of spiritual advancement. Association with persons who are not spiritually advanced is forbidden. Lord Chaitanya advised Asat Sangha Tyaga. One should avoid persons who are attached to the temporary. Asat is one who is too materially attached, who is not a devotee of the Lord, and who is too attached to women or enjoyable material things. Such a person, according to Vaishnava philosophy, is a persona non grata. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises that we should not associate with people who are too materially attached. Well, in other words, my understanding is into the enjoying spirit, because to some extent there should be, well, correct me if I'm wrong, some level of material attachment as far as I need to keep this body together, I need to maintain it, I need to make sure I'm healthy, do some exercise, and I have attachments in the form of my spouse or kids, I've got a home to upkeep, It's not that we neglect these things, but if we're going after them with over and above that to a view of like just like really want to enjoy these things and then increasing them, double it, triple it, this and that, then that takes away the mood of following a path of detachment or renunciation. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Prabhupada says, without diplomacy, a devotee should not make plans out of self-interest. Of course, preachers sometimes have to make some plan to execute the mission under proper guidance, but regarding personal self-interest, a devotee should always be without diplomacy and should avoid the company of persons who are not advancing in spiritual life. Yeah, without diplomacy, it means ulterior motive. I'm trying to do something for my own personal self-interest. I mean, it's one of those things I argue because it's not so easy to act or function at all in the world without having some personal self-interest. I mean, let's be real, even, the type of pillow you sleep on, where you live, going to the bathroom, food we eat, the sights we see, the color clothes we wear. There's so much personal interest vested. So I think we have to be careful not to throw out the baby with the bathwater and understanding that, of course, personal interest means to as much as extent we should be doing what we do for Krishna. But the practical cold hard reality is that we are going to be self-invested to a greater or lesser extent for some time. But at least we can try our best to aspire for that platform of not, feeling like it has to be all about me, but whatever will please Krishna. And I think that's really a gradual thing. It's not something that, for sure, doesn't happen overnight, Okay. A devotee, last paragraph, a devotee should not be proud of his acquisitions. The symptoms of a devotee are meekness and humility. Although spiritually very advanced, he will always remain meek and humble. As Kaviraj Goswami and all the other Vaishnavas have taught us by personal example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that one should be humbler than the grass on the street and more tolerant than the tree. One should not be proud or falsely puffed up. In this way, one will surely advance in spiritual life. So, some things have been listed here and Prabhupada says, in this way, one will surely advance in spiritual life. So don't be proud of acquisitions. So if you get something, acquire something, I've got a new job, I've got a new house, I've got a new child, I've got a new computer, a new watch, a new this, a new that. So don't be proud of your acquisitions. So how can you not be proud? By understanding that Krishna supplied them ultimately. If I wasn't meant to get this and if it wasn't ordained by the Supersoul, I would have never gotten it. So immediately we become humbled because we think, it's not by my endeavor, it's not by my qualification, it's simply by the mercy of the Lord. So like that, I think, as Kaviraj Goswami and all other Vaishnavas have taught us by their personal example. So we see Kaviraj Goswami, he wrote the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I mean that's something to be proud of. And but at the end of every chapter and the beginning of the next chapter, he starts by offering his obeisances to his many spiritual masters and ends with offering obeisances to his gurus, and he's always reflecting that Vrindavan Das Thakur has already done the bulk of the work. I'm just trying to fill in some gaps this is humility, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't do what he's doing. Like once someone said, they saw that a devotee was signing a letter, "You're a useless servant." And he said, "Why would you want to be useless?" You should you should sign it, "You're a useful servant."
Or aspiring useful servant.
Yeah.
Better than just useless.
We're not interested in people becoming useless. We become so humble that we can't do anything. So again, it's a kind of contradiction that we can't always grasp, that humility doesn't mean that I just become a doormat and let everyone walk all over me and don't do anything. It means basically, in essence, that I don't accept anything as mine, understanding that it all belongs to Krishna, and that includes the endeavor and the reciprocation or the reward that comes. It's not due to me, it's all due to Krishna. That's humility, but I still make the endeavor. What is it? One senior devotee once said, that we should endeavor like it depends on us, but know that it ultimately depends on Krishna. So like that. Well, that was a bit of a hawk noise. How long is the next purport? Oh, it's shorty. Let's do that one.
Okay. Text 19. When one is fully qualified with all these transcendental attributes and his consciousness is thus completely purified, he is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name or hearing of my transcendental quality. Purport. In the beginning of this instruction, the Lord explained to his mother that Mad Guna Shruti Matrena, simply by hearing of the name, quality, form, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is immediately attracted. A person becomes fully qualified with all transcendental qualities by following the rules and regulations as recommended in different scriptures. We have developed certain unnecessary qualities by material association, and by following the above process we become free from contamination. To develop transcendental qualities, as explained in the previous verse, one must become free from these contaminated qualities. So in other words, we need to be actively working towards purification. In one sense, the process is pure. Prabhupada, what he's given us is some guarantee of success if you follow, but it is a process. It is a science of bhakti yoga. You do need to be working. What is that? Oh God, it's gone. See, brain fog. You do need to be. Anyway, you need to make progress. It's a movement. We need to move, basically. We need to not just lazy sort of intelligence, checking ourselves, ticking off what we just read in the previous verses. Do I feel that I'm becoming more tolerant? How do I feel about humility? Do I always want to be doing this, doing that? Am I becoming free of the attributes of the lower modes like this? You're just readjusting ourselves, like we were saying previously, in terms of, okay, does my association really help me with these things? What I eat, how I eat, when I eat, do I offer it? Am I reading? Am I reading enough? What am I hearing? Who am I hearing from? All these things will help you to progress and become free from contaminated qualities. So we have to be constantly self-checking ourselves. Constant self-check, like a personal MOT.
Yeah, Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, is very good for this, especially the first kind of 6-7 verses explain how we should conduct ourselves. If we find that there's some issue in our spiritual practice, in our spiritual life, you can just read those verses and you'll see that there's probably something we need to adjust by either adding it in or something we need to take out. So it's good points. Thank you. Okay, I think we should finish there if you're okay with that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in, hearing the Bhagavatam. We're just chilling. Actually, we're preparing for a wedding here at the at New Mayapur, so we've been busy meeting with the bride and groom and their family.
Yeah.
And you can check out on Bhakti Vision. Maybe in a week or so, you'll see the wedding.
Next month, more like.
Okay.
I got a bit of a backlog with the American tour. It will be there next month.
Okay, thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki,
Jai.
ISKCON New Mayapur Ki
Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.